is here. We here to inform you. Listen and be inspired. Central TV is here. We the best now in time. Oh, listen and be inspired. Turn up, turn up, turn up, turn up, turn up to Central TV. Turn up, turn up, turn up, turn up, turn up to Central TV. Veronica the boss for Central TV. She here to give you the best. Come and listen everybody to Central TV. We here to give you the best. Come and listen, enjoy the show. Come and listen to Central TV. We the best in time. Turn up, turn up, turn up, turn up, turn up to Central TV. Turn up, turn up, turn up, turn up, turn up to Central TV. Veronica the boss for Central TV. She here to give you the best. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the Central TV. Central TV is here. We here to inform you. Listen and be inspired. Central TV is here. We the best now in time. Oh, listen and be inspired. Turn up, turn up, turn up, turn up, turn up to Central TV. Turn up, turn up, turn up, turn up, turn up to Central TV. Veronica the boss for Central TV. She here to give you the best. Come and listen everybody to Central TV. We here to give you the best. Come and listen, enjoy the show. Come and listen to Central TV. We the best in time. Turn up, turn up, turn up, turn up, turn up to Central TV. Turn up, turn up, turn up, turn up, turn up.
Good afternoon, good morning, and good evening, depending on your location. This is Central TV. Today's Saturday edition is leadership, dialogue, and general discussion. Today we will be talking about training issues in Liberia. We'll be talking about issues out of Liberia, and we'll be having two powerful guests in the studio. We will be discussing, analyzing, and we will be recommending as to what we can do to resolve some issues in Liberia. Stay tuned while we are waiting for our guests to join us and our co-host, Mr. Nathan Biaka, to join us. Again, this is Central TV. You are welcome to today's Saturday edition. On behalf of the entire staff, members, officials, and our CEO, Mr. Santi R. Grants, we want to say thank you for your support, thank you for following us, and thank you for trusting us. Again, we will take a short musical break while we wait for our guests to come in studio.
Central TV, Veronica the boss for Central TV. She here to give you the best. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the Central TV.
I love
Central TV is here. We here to inform you. Listen and be inspired. Central TV is here. We the best now in time. Oh, listen fire. Turn up, turn up, turn up, turn up, turn up to Central TV. Turn up, turn up, turn up, turn up, turn up.
All right. Again, this is Central TV. We are expecting two powerful guests in studio today. We have Reverend John Zebedee, Reverend Chase Cephas Davis. We will be our guest, and we have a friend that will be joining us for us to discuss the issues trending in Liberia at this moment. And we are happy to have.
Okay.
Welcome to studio, Reverend.
Yeah, my microphone and computer are not good. I wonder whether I can send an email. You can send it to me. Are you getting me?
Yeah, sure. You are clear, sir.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you are clear. But in the middle of the conversation, if there's anything you want us to change, that's fine. We want to welcome you to Central TV. Today is Saturday edition of our Leadership Dialogue and special discussion issue 3 in Liberia and the rest of the world. We are honored to have you here on Central TV. I think this is your second time appearing on our show. At this time, we'll give you the opportunity to introduce yourself to our audience.
Oh, introduce myself. Okay, I'm Reverend Cephas Davis. I'm a United Methodist clergy person in the state of Iowa, USA. I consider myself not just another preacher, not just another theologian, but also a dispute resolution practitioner, public administration scholar, and yeah, I'm just the kind of simple guy. So I'm glad to be here and looking forward to this conversation.
Thank you so much for honoring our request on the shortest possible notice. That shows that we all have Liberia on our mind. That shows that we all need better for Liberia. Again, we want to say welcome to Central TV. We will be discussing issues about the drugs in Liberia. We will be discussing recommendation. We'll be discussing how we can have our own input in resolving issues in Liberia related to the drugs. Sometimes when you tell people our input, everything cannot be financed. Even you have an expertise, you can do counseling, you can do a lot of stuff for our Liberians youth if the opportunity is given to you to do that. Again, we want to say we are honored of having you here on Central TV, and we will be here with our co-host, and another guest will be here. But instead of holding our audience, Neto, I want to say welcome.
Thank you.
Neto is my co-host on this edition of Central TV, and in studio with us, Neto is Reverend Chase Cephas Davis. He already introduced himself. This is his second time on this platform. Reverend Davis, in recent time, we have heard a lot of drug issues in Liberia, even though the drug issues in Liberia have been an ongoing thing. And but at this point, it's getting too heavy, it's getting too embarrassing, it's getting too worrisome. Liberia growing drug crisis. At this time, what do you think must take responsibility for protecting the nation's future in related to making Liberia a drug-free country?
That's the whole drug issue. That's a very unique question. But as we look at the broader perspective about national responsibility, I think first we got to understand that Liberia at the moment stand at a very, very defining moment in the history of our country. If as a researcher and public policy analysis, if you even go to Liberia now, you look at statistical. There are statistical data that now Africa have the youngest population on the planet, and in Liberia alone, the age is 60% of population is below 30 years of age. So the whole issue about drug is a very, very should I say dangerous? I think we still at a point in history where we have a better future with the whole issue of the drug epidemic happening in our country. That's the first question we have to ask ourselves. And the reality is, getting close to the drug issue, this is not a one person thing. It must be addressed holistically. Every aspect of Liberia, every aspect of government, civil society, families, and the religious institution, they all play a major role for us to have a better Liberia and for us to be able to have a society to move forward. So it is a collective work. It's not a work that we can just rely on one person, you know. So that's the first thing we have to do as Liberian. We must come to this point and say this issue is an issue worth looking at. This issue is an issue that can define the next 30, 40 years of the country we love. Because the issue of drug, you go back to history. Let's take, for example, in the early 90s, you had a drug epidemic in America across Los Angeles with all the resources they had. It was terrible. People were dying. People were dying of overdose. It's a very dangerous thing that our people are playing with, because the responsibility does not lie on one person. But as we go further, I'll be able to speak more to that. I just want to lay that premise.
So, Lisa, forget you just said the responsibility does not last on one person. But I see that in recent days, people are trying to politicize the whole drugs issues as of blaming another political party or being responsible for the increase of drug in the country, and also blaming another group or accusing without evidence. All this person is responsible for the drugs. What light can you throw on accusation from both sides, instead of looking at the bigger picture?
Yeah, but that's a sad thing about it. People that follow me on Facebook, they will understand that in recent week I've been been doing reflection on leaders that that led a Grand Bassa country where I am from. My native country that is hosting the independence, and one of the things that have continued to speak about is about unity, is about putting Liberia first. And that's a sad thing. The reality, our generation have not been able to reach that stage to put Liberia first. We choose political parties, we choose political leaders over the institution, which is Mama Liberia.
Yeah.
The whole idea of accusing this other person, that person, it just gets me sick in my stomach every time I watch Spoon TV and listen to these things. And those things will not help the stage we find ourselves in. You look at a country of about 5 million people, and you're talking about having a drug bust that is worth more than 300 million. That should be a serious thing that should pause every Liberian. Every Liberian should come and reach to the point to say, wow, this is not good. This is not good. How can we secure a future for our nation? This trusting is not just about, UP, CDC. No, it is about the future of the Republic of Liberia. It is about how do we have generation that will replace us when we are no longer here. Yeah, it's about looking at the future of this country.
I agree with you, Reverend Davis. It's about looking at the future of this country when we're no longer around, because people were ahead of us and they left and we are still here. So the aspect of drugs, I agree with you that people should not pinpoint. It's not a joking thing. It's not a political issue. We're talking about human life here. We're talking about nation going down the drain. We're talking about 10, 15 years ago where Liberia would be. So those are all that want to politicize, and we need to be very careful, because it's not about us. I'm almost 50 years. The next 10, 15 years, my son is going to be on the scene. What will happen if our entire country is covered with drugs? I want to tell you, thank you. What if I ask you again, what is a driving increase in the drug trafficking and abuse in Liberia? You think what's the increase? During the previous leadership, we heard about drugs, but it was just something our local where people will go and learn. I mean, learn in the graveyard, get a boom and get powder and put on something and smoke it, and they be hard. But at this point, the increase in drug in Liberia to the extent that we're getting 3.17 million drugs. Why you think, I mean, we didn't use, although we got a drugs like that, but it was not to that amount from previous leadership. Why do you think it's an increase of
No,
drug
but you know,
trafficking and abuse in
I
Liberia?
know. Yeah, yes, in reality, some of us who do research, like some most time, when I talk to people, they say, oh, they mean I just pastor. No, no, I'm not just a pastor. I'm a researcher. I'm a scholar. And we do research, and we that do research. The issue about the drug now in Liberia is not because it is not old. It is not old. It is not old. It been happening. It was happening. All these drugs are in Liberia. And here's the great difference. The great difference is the current Liberian government have taken stand to go after ghettos, and they are taking action to say we'll go after the traffickers. And that's the reason we're getting to know. Past government, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, George Weah, they weren't going after a trafficker. No, they were not intentional to say we'll go after to see where all the drugs coming from entering the country. They were not doing it. But the reality is the trafficking that is happening now that we're hearing about because you have a government that have become intentional to take action. Not just that, you have a press that is pushing the government as well. So some people think because we hear about drugs now, it was this administration that brought about it. No, it's been happening. The reality is there is statistic. Currently now, West Africa has become the hub for drug trafficking. And why they say happening? It is happening because the drug war, they have realized we have weaker institutions in West Africa. So they are taking advantage of weaker institutions. They are taking advantage of corruption within our sub-region. And that's how they start moving towards West Africa. And let's take, for example, Liberia, for instance. Liberia is at a very critical point.
Definitely.
But, now we're using it for drug. But you see, if you get smart policy people, the location of Liberia, it can boom any businesses. To fly from Liberia to Europe is 5 hours. To fly from Liberia directly to New York, it will take you about 8 to 9 hours. So Liberia is at a unique area that is easy for people to do bad business. At the same time, you can do good businesses. So the whole issue of the drug, it been there. It's not new. It been there. You remember the 100 million drug arrest that took place. What happened to that 100 million drug arrest? We didn't hear nothing about it. It went to court. It died in the court because the government was not intentional to say it will go after trafficker. But this government had decided to go after trafficker. I'm not saying this government is 100% perfect. I'm not a unitary party partisan if somebody listening. But the reality, you start to know because these things happening. Like what I tell somebody, people dying too much nowadays. I said the reason you didn't know people that die every day because you didn't have Facebook. So nobody was sharing the death news on Facebook.
Definitely.
So the whole idea about people dying, plenty in Liberia, people just die. People have been dying like that before. But today you get a means to share the information so everybody get to know. Yeah. So if the government have been silent, the whole drug thing can go through all. Yeah. But we are grateful that we got a press that is pressurizing the government, and we got a government that have been intentional to go after drug traffickers.
Nathan, if you would make a contribution, why do you think it's the increase, is the rise of drug trafficking and abuse in Liberia currently, Nathan?
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I think that it have been an age-old problem, and I think one of the reason, or some of the reason, could be like what the Reverend talked about in terms of system being put into place, in terms of previous administration, previous leadership. It wasn't really serious as to how we are seeing it now. So the problem has always been a system issue, because like when you talk about 100 million drugs, I think that 100 million drugs issue, the way it went on in past time, No one had any information about it. It was just on the surface. People discussed it as if to say nothing was happening and nothing went on. They just politicized everything. And at the end of the day, we couldn't get any information, a single information. We never got it from previous administration. The way we have just issued in Liberia now, previous administration, it wasn't really like that. So, like what he said, Liberia is situated at a strategic point on the map of the world. Liberia is situated at a strategic point. Way back when our history teacher tells us that Liberia declared war on Great Britain, we couldn't believe it. It's like people are using Liberia. So it tells you that Liberia is strategically seated and anybody can do anything in Liberia. So the issue of system is one of the major issues we have to talk on. Even currently, as the government of Liberia continue to strive to fight the just, there are still loopholes. There are still loopholes that people are making use of. There are still loopholes. So I think the government is trying, but one of the major issues we've been having in things that they just issue is a system. Because I listened to the former DA director, Mr. Foba should have been here today, but he called me at the other day and said, well, Nathan, you know, people are advised me from the executive that I shouldn't talk because we are security people. So I will come on the show maybe next time, other stuff. So he made a statement before the mega press briefing. That's what even led to his suspension for time indefinite. He said, we are talking about just, we are protesting about just today, but we will have to face the system because if you go back to previous administration, if you do a thorough check and other things, you will notice that from the executive down to the judiciary and the legislature, you will find somebody in the system that is involved in the just issue. So I think one of the major issues that we need to put ourselves together is the system, because Liberia is the only place that we cannot be deported from. And one good thing I would like to thank this government for, because they are opening our eyes to the fight against drugs. I have never seen any robust fight against drugs as compared to this government. It is the first time in our history. So I believe that the cartel, the drugs cartel, is being exposed seriously, or it is getting to the point where we're exposed out of the drug cartel. So this government has been so robust in terms of fighting drugs, but we need to work on our own system. Just a recent, there is a information that came out and said 106 in the Liberia National Police, a security personnel that work with the Liberia National Police, to 10,000 bribes. I have never heard of 10,000 people for myself, but I believe in my capacity is a small money to raise a whole country that just worth $130 million. You just took 10,000 out of it. So you see the damage. So there's no way the government can play damage control of it. They were very clear. They exposed it and they brought it to the public. So the system, if the system continues to be rotten, we will always get a bad smell because the system is rotten. So you cannot put a boiling down, you keep it for 4 or 5 days and you say it shouldn't smell, it will smell. So the system should be very, very much robust in terms of fighting drugs. So I believe one thing I will always say, system, Liberia, since our genesis of formation and other stuff, we are always have systematic issues. Our system is always giving us problem, and if it continues, it will be a systematic issue for generations to come. So, like I said, the government has opened everybody else to the fight against drugs. They are very robust about it. They are very punctual about the fight against drugs. So, I think with the way we are going with the issue of the drugs fight in this country, I believe we are heading for progress. So, for me, I think the system, we will have to really look at the system. As the way the President Baba has dismissed more than 2 DA director now, because he understands the system issue. He understands the system issue. So, I think we will need to put more focus on the system around the drugs, the cartel. We will need to work on the system.
Thank you, Nathan. Nathan said the system. So that brings me to the next question for Reverend Davis. Are the government and the security agency doing enough to combat the crisis of drugs in Liberia, Reverend Davis?
What the question again?
Are the government and the security agencies doing enough to combat the drugs crisis in Liberia?
Oh, that's, you can, we can say, to that question, we can say yes or we can say no. The government have, you talk about they're doing raid, they're doing different bars, to, when it comes to the whole drug issue. But I think we need to do more than that. Doing more than that, it's not just, you go, you boss the other ghetto, you boss the other ghettos. No, this should be a holistic approach. We cannot fight this epidemic one way. You cannot fight it one way. If we go after traffickers, we got to go after smaller dealers. Not just after smaller dealers. We have to create avenue for rehab. Those are already addicted. The young people. So this got to be fought for on a holistic perspective. Yeah, the DA is doing their work. The national security is doing their work. But then here is it. What is the church doing? What is the civil servant doing? What is the Ministry of Health doing? Because everybody form part of this holistic approach to combat the whole idea of the drug epidemic that's in Liberia. Yeah. So the government is doing what they can, but this require a bigger thing, a bigger picture. We got to look at our borders. Are our border 100% safe? No. We on the coastline. People can travel by boat and enter our area so many ways. Do we have enough manpower that spread through our country to secure our border? No, we don't have them. Yeah. So this it's kind of heartbreaking that the national legislature have not even come to session to say let's try and give the president some authority. Let's see how best we can allocate hundreds of millions, to attack this whole drug epidemic. Because if you don't do anything holistically, the reality is, how many facilities do we have in Liberia? Because the government can't just go after trafficker and not finding means to rescue the youth that are already addicted. Are those youth, are they in a addiction program? Because the reality is, each youth you save from addiction, you save in a future teacher, a future engineer, a future politician, a future policy maker. So this is big. So if you say 100%, how much percent the government is doing now? Maybe you say 2 or 3%. Because there's a holistic approach. But have the government reached to a point to say, oh, this is a holistic approach? We cannot approach the whole drug epidemic one way. Because you cannot, and that's the reality. You cannot approach the whole thing from the one perspective. Oh, the bus drugs. Oh, the bus. Yeah, it's a good thing the bus drugs. The government is doing what they can, but at the end of the day, the government, when you told me to discuss on the topic, maybe at the end I will give a recommendation about something called drugs act. Yeah. The government must come to this whole understanding that this is not just a small thing. This is a bigger thing. This is about the future of our nation. And this should not be even thing that people should make it political. The government got more to do. Because currently we got the national security, we got the other people, the part of the approach. But do we have civil servant part of the approach? As a person called religious leader, what input they can make in front of the drug epidemic in our country? Yeah.
And so to just add to what you're saying, Reverend Davis, we also need health practitioners in the whole drugs fighting. Because those are then are fighting the drug. Have we done a drug test? Are they free? Are they competent? Are they qualified to fight the drugs? Yeah. Because if I'm fighting prostitution, and in the night I'm dressing and going to the street to prostitute there, I'm not fighting. I'm just pretending. And then in the day, I'm somebody who is a counselor or is happy. So even our DEA leaders and staff members need to be drugs tested. I said that every day. Even our legislature need to be drugs tested. Even people in the executive need to be drugs tested. Then we will know. Because if we're testing our people that are fighting drugs, you're not going to tell them I'm testing you today, just random testing. Okay, today, Mary Paul, Jesus, come on here, we're testing you guys for drugs. From Cracker Cuomo all the way to the president, Imbuto need to be tested if we will fight drugs and succeed fighting drugs in Liberia.
Yeah.
So I mean, it should be interdisciplinary thing. Fighting the drugs in Liberia. We need to have social worker on that thing. We need to have nurses, doctors. We need to have counselors, pastors. You know, just go, okay, we take 317 million or whatever drugs. Okay, yeah, we got it. Yeah, you're arrested the foreign national. The other one was smiling. I don't know what was already behind his smile. That another thing. I mean, we arrested at the jail. Yeah, we got our drugs. We want to go destroy it. Cool. And what next? What next? So we are in that trust issue. Should not just be DEA taking people to train them for 1 year, 6 months, 7 months, 2 months, 3 more, put uniform on there, call the DEA. Where is the integrity? Do we do the trust test before we put them in the training? Do we do the trust test when they graduate? Do we do run a drug test for our people? Because if we're fighting it, we should fight it from the bottom of the water to the top. You don't just fight it. Oh, the people kill you. Show the one picture. You see that guy was smiling? There was something behind the smile. Yeah, we just made 106. Good. That's fine. Boo, 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 boo. That's great. But do we know a 105 is negative or drugs? Do we know a 103 is negative or drugs? So I think the fighting of drugs in Liberia should be interdisciplinary, that everybody, every profession will be involved. What we have for us, we have everybody, not just rest a drug, throw a clear the people in jail, then we'll clear. No, oneness. So again, that will yes, go ahead.
I think you see it all boiled down to what President Bouanga started at the previous stage or at the earlier stage of the government, where he instructed all his appointees to go and do the drug test. So I think this is something that we will need to continue to flag this on our platform to ensure that whatever President Bouanga said during his inauguration message, whatever he said during his previous time before ascending to power, we should be able to flag it out so that people can be able to listen to it. And they understand. President Bouanga was very clear about this. All public officials go and do your drug test and submit report. How far have they gone with this? We don't know. This is what I keep saying.
They didn't submit report. In fact, when it comes to the trust test issue in Liberia, I mean, we have Liberian Nurses Association in America yet. Yeah. If they can just select the Liberian Nurses Association, just to go do that trust test, we don't know any other government official. Because let me tell you, now I don't trust anybody in Liberia. But people get compromised so easily. If you can just ask, okay, we have social workers, we have people like this. We want a Skellington team from Liberia to come work for at least 6 months. And when we come, we say that somewhere where we know anybody. And we're dealing with Ministry of Internal Affairs staff members today. We're dealing with them. From there, we present the report. We submit the report. We go to the next ministry. But I mean, it's not that done, but people quite to be compromised. 10,000 can photo people out in Liberia. If somebody give me 10,000, you just abusing me. You know what I'm saying? Because I know how many weeks or how many more I can work for 10,000 and get it. But if we say we're doing drug tests, somebody go do positive or drug for one, a nurse is taking $100 US a month or $500 US, then maybe one representative say, you know what, say I'm negative, I will get 3,000. What do you think? If that nurse or that person who is doing that lab technician does not have integrity issue, they will succumb and get that 3,000 and say negative result. That's not the case. Let's get other people involved that will volunteer free or charge. I will say, okay, I'm coming to Liberia for 3 more. Liberia government don't pay me. I'm just coming to run up my service as a Liberian. So that drug test, the Liberian children can say a fly. Because we didn't even get a result. You want to tell me all the government officials who are making negative for drug test? Well, okay, we'll go to the next question, Reverend Davis. How can the community, the parents, the school, the religious institution help to protect young people from the whole drugs issue in Liberia?
We'll go back again to the whole approach. How is the Liberian government taking this approach? What model is the Liberian government taking to combat drugs? Has the Liberian government reached the stage to say, this is a national security issue, not just a national security issue. This is an issue that could either define a better generation or for a better Liberia tomorrow? Have they reached to that point? Because if the president will reach to that point, if you reach to that point, then that when you start to take the holistic approach. And the holistic approach is bringing everybody together. Like you talk about, the Ministry of Health, the nurses, the doctors, the religious leader. That's a holistic approach. Then you talk about laying a strategy to see how can we go about this. And for this to happen, the reality is it requires a lot of funding. So the religious institution can be used to help this whole trafficking issue, because there are addiction programs, there are religious addiction program format that is used across the world. I got this friend, who is into the drug addiction counseling, Reverend Henry C.A. And this, my friend, he got this whole beautiful program, from a religious, spiritual perspective that can help people and guide people how to be, how to recover from drug addiction. And not to say we don't have the people, we have the professional people, but the first thing we have to reach to this point: are we about to take the decision? Are we taking this serious? Or are we just doing this, because the things we got to bust drugs? Are we doing it? These are all policy questions, because if you get a national strategy for attacking drug in Liberia from a holistic perspective, then you bring in all these people. The community had to be involved. You see something, say something.
Yeah.
We're talking about civil education. You gotta get funding for civil education throughout the communities. Like when we were growing up, you have Balawala, Malawada, they'll give those come and talk over radios and stuff. You need all those things in place. But for these things to fall in place, you need somebody trustworthy. You need somebody who understands policy, somebody who understands negotiation, somebody, you need somebody who's also a scholar that'll be able to look at data-driven approach. Because you don't want to approach this issue like, let's just do it. No. It got to be strategic. It got to be data-driven. You got to look at format and things that are happening in other countries that calm down the whole drug trafficking and put it into place. So the reality is everybody has to be involved. Yeah. It's not a one-person thing. Yeah, but at the end of the day, you need to have a leader that will coordinate these activities. That's why I say when you give me this talk about this issue, before then I've been looking at policy strategy for Liberia drug epidemic, because during my free time, all I think about is how we can make Liberia better. Maybe at the end I will talk about the president appointing a drug czar, somebody that will coordinate the whole strategy to the drug approach in Liberia. They got to be somebody with integrity. They got to get somebody that understands policy, somebody that is not afraid, somebody that cannot be barred away with money. You got to get a person with that kind of integrity. And that person can coordinate everything. As long as you get the funding and you get all these institutions involved, then you can start mapping up about the whole drug issue and how we can resolve it, how we can get better youth for Liberia tomorrow.
Again, if you are just joining us, this is Central TV. We are here with Reverend Cephas Davis, J. Cephas Davis, who is our guest in studio. We are discussing the drug issues in Liberia, the trafficking, who are our target, what can we do, recommendations, what contribution can we make, and why is the drug trafficking on the increase in Liberia? Again, we will take 30-second a musical break, and we will be back. And in studio, I have my co-host, Mr. Nathan Biako. At this time, we'll take 30-second a musical break, and we'll be right back.
Central TV, Veronica the boss for Central TV. She here to give you the best. Come and listen, everybody, to Central TV. We here to give you the best. Come and listen, enjoy the show. Come and listen to Central TV. We the best in time. Turn up, turn up, turn up, turn up, turn up to Central TV. Turn up, turn up, turn up, turn up, turn up to Central TV. Veronica the boss for Central TV. She here to give you the best.
Yeah, this is again, welcome back. This is Central TV. This is today's Saturday, July 25th. This is a leadership dialogue and general discussion. I am in studio with Reverend J. Cephas Davis, a clergy of the United Methodist Church, and in studio is my co-host, Mr. Nathan Biaka, and we are discussing the issues of drugs increase in Liberia. Where will our children be in the next 10 years? What can we do? What's the recommendation? What's the solution? Who need to be involved in the fighting of these drugs? Do we leave them with just the government? Do we leave them with the DEA, the police? Is it politically driven? Today, we are here on the hot seat. That's Nathan, do you want to make a 1 minute contribution as to how can the community, the parents, the institution be involved in fighting this drug for the better future of our children?
Yes, I think the community started before, and then other people felt that the action was too harsh. Sometimes some bad soul need some bad medicine. So the community started before. People around were saying that, oh, it is harmful, it is more violence and other stuff. But the community can be a watchdog for its own self in terms of protecting its community, because if one person in the community have some bad influence, or there are some people in the community who are at the end of the day, you notice that peer pressure will carry other young people to try to get involved in the uses of drugs. Before then, when we notice in the community that somebody have a drugs cartel or someone have a ghetto that is involved in the drugs business, we'll bust it. By the end of the report came back. So the president, the lawyer, put too hard, like, bro, it's too much sympathetic to the extent that people trying to do some things, people want to politicize it and other stuff. But I think we'll have to introduce, like I keep saying, the drug test. We'll have to introduce the drug test to our high schools, our federal universities, all of these government spending entities. For example, if I want to go to Cara Baptist or Limera High School, before entering the school, I have to do my drug test. That's a means of fight against drugs.
Could be a requirement for the school.
Yes, it will help the school a lot. And moreover, we government, yes, we are very appreciated that we have a few people now trying to build some rehab center. Yes, I think our government to build more rehab center. People who are already affected from drugs, we need to get them somewhere, treat them, make them forget about drugs totally, so that other part of the community can see them and get involved into it. But nowadays, if we work on the street, yes, the number is reducing. Yes, I agree, the number are reducing. But nowadays, if we work on the street, you'll still find 1 or 2 person who will be doing the drugs business right on the street. So yes, government trying to ensure that they chase them, grab them, get into a rehab center, so that they don't have their own rehab center. Yes, we agree, it is helpful. That's a means of buttress government effort, but it is not still sufficient. Government need to focus on building more rehab center. People who are already affected, grab them, take them from there, care them, rehabilitate them, graduate them, bring them back into society. It can still be something better in society. There are still hope for them. So I think government need to build more rehab center that will save the community. If a lawmaker can take upon a time, each lawmaker have a rehab center in their in each district. If you check that most rather, you get 17 rehab center. That's a good help for those who are already into drugs. All of the high school, make sure before you open a school, all of the students going into the drug test. If you already notice that they are into drugs, there's a means that you send it to the rehab center, they can still get an education from there and come back. People who are going to a public area, private area, before you start work, you do your drug test. If you really want to fight drugs, to be very serious about the drugs issue, we will have to take some drastic action, use some drastic rules or measure, put some drastic measure into place so that Liberia can be safe. Because the first thing is that if you look at Liberia now, the literacy rate is very high. It's very high. That's why Ebola can bulldoze, COVID can bulldoze. Why? People are not educated. So any sickness for that matter, anything that is harmful for human body or that is harmful for human health, it come here to succeed because the air literacy rate is very high. You look at a young man who is doing anything, anything on the more ends. When you go and draw or somebody getting 50 out of 20 out of 2 million, I bring that out, you go and take drugs with it. At the end of the day, what do you expect? He will come back in the same home and steal a mother or phone, go and sell it and go back to the drugs. So community need to inform, even a civil society. I don't know whether they are being bought because they can only advocate when people run against president wife and president children. That's the time you see them coming out of advocate. But there is a major issue that.
Okay, I think he's taking. So he will come right back. The internet is taking. So, Reverend David, should Liberia introduce a tougher penalty for drugs traffickers and distributors? You think there should be a very high, strong rules for drug trafficker and distributors?
Oh, hey. Okay, I would say, should we have high penalty for drugs, for those engaged in drugs? Yeah, I would say yes. But we got to look at it. We got to look at it uniquely, because you get two sides to this argument. But the reality is, tougher penalty alone are unlikely to solve the problem. We can get tougher penalty, but tougher penalty alone will not solve the problem of the drug issue in Liberia. We have to have a balanced approach. We have to combine our strong laws enforcement service, prevention, treatment, economic opportunity, and that rely on punishment by itself. So there are so many ways we can do it. Yeah, the tougher penalty is great, but in pushing the tougher penalty for those people, you have to have a strong judicial system. You gotta have a judicial system that would not accept bribe or so. If we come to the judicial system, let's take for example, Joseph Boyer called me and said, Reverend Davis, I want for you to be the drug czar. If I talk about strong judicial system, my first recommendation to the president would be to send a legislation to the Liberia House of Representatives and the Senate for them to be able, because the Constitution requires them to establish courts, for them to establish a special independent court just for drug trafficking. A special independent court. And we got so many Liberians to do that. If I had a drug czar, I would tell the person, I say, appoint Terwin Gonglo to head that court. And that court would be a fast track court. And all that court is to prosecute you. Find means if you're going to jail for 10 years, maybe the limit year could be 10 years. Some people will say execute people, but indeed, you got to do tougher penalty. But at the same time, while you're doing the tougher measure, you have to be able to create. You have to be able to create opportunity for civil education.
Yeah.
So the idea of the fast track code that would be for dealing with drugs, the way Ellen did with rape and other things with women. If you get that code, the disadvantage again, you get overcrowded prison. So then you have to have money. The person got to be ready. You got international partners that will help you. You got to get money available to build new prison. And you tell the Liberian people the new prison we're building, because we know we're going to get a lot of drugs people are going to put it in here. You got to be able to build, public safety. You got to disrupt the criminal network.
Mm-hmm.
Then national security, but then, all these things got to do it. But you also get raised to these tougher something. You got to have funding. You got to have the money to be able to do it.
Yeah,
You know,
funny, the major
yeah,
thing. Funny, you need to
yeah.
have money to do
You
it
got to get
because
funding.
you got to put your whole self into it. I'm telling you, Reverend Davis, this
Yeah,
job thing we're talking is a serious thing. It's a
yeah,
serious thing. What breaks my heart more is you even have women involved in supporting the process. You will hear one woman say, "Got a woman thing the government need to look at. The government can see people dying. The government can see." I mean, a female. We're talking about our children dying, and those will be the contribution you will make. Then the children are the only thing, but then the children are harassing people. But then they are ignorantly doing it because somebody is sitting somewhere in the hard seat, and the person's
yeah,
children in the Western world can acquire better education, but he making money out of your children with their drugs
yeah,
and destroying your
mhm,
children and
yeah,
destroying your children's life. But his children are succeeding. And so after 10 years, when he turns his over, his children in the diaspora will come and lead your children. And your children will also be servant to his children. Do you see the bigger picture? So,
yeah.
I always, my passion about this whole drug issue is so hard
Yeah.
to. So now when I
Yeah.
see
So
women,
so if we come to the penalty issue, you got to get very strong penalty for major drug trafficker like the Colombian and you grab. Those for them maybe the penalty the minimum penalty should be like 50 years in prison. Then you talk about the drug kingpin. You gotta get strong penalty for those people and those who recruit children into drug distribution because you got some of them that recruit children and the children sell the drugs. So those kind of people, if that special court find them guilty, those kind of people maybe the minimum sentence will give them like 50 years in prison. Because we got to do that, and to be able to do that, the tougher penalty is not the thing. You got to be able you got to be able to provide treatment center. You got to expand youth employment, educational, vocational training. So all these things come hand in hand.
yeah,
So that's the reason we talk about a holistic approach that can be had by a drug czar, which will be my final recommendation in this conversation. You know, if we establish a rehab, it got to be well funded
yeah,
because to be able to combat this, it requires a lot of money. Not just money, it requires people with integrity. It requires people that understand policy, people that are strategic, that can drive a strategic plan to be able to do our. Okay, let's take for example, I just died for Liberia. I'll tell the education minister, as an education minister, we need a memo to go out to private and public school. The government gonna support testing, random testing once a month. Random testing to students once a month. And then you're creating job for people. You're creating job for nurses. You're creating job for people to do testing.
lab
So the whole
technician,
approach, it can also be an unemployment approach. Because if you're talking about organizing vocational training center in rehab facility, you need people to train those youth. And the reality is we are at a critical point.
we are.
We are at a very critical point in our nation. And I don't think, I don't know who in the room, who advising the president, to be able to, design a holistic approach for our country,
Yeah, we are at a critical point at this point, and it's everybody business. It all hands on deck. It's not a thing. So, like Unity Party bringing it. That CDC brought it.
Yeah.
That CMC brought it. At this point, no, because children. I'm telling you, I have a little boy in Liberia. When I went Liberia, this boy is so submissive. He's serviceable. He's so nice. The next time I visited Liberia, that boy is in God with drugs. This child was said when I used to go there, we had conversation. Now he would just pass by with 5:30 years word. If he freshen water in the tub, he would do it all day. I mean, like he not talking to you, he not doing anything, but he jumping, he going to other people's home, jumping through that window and getting the food and eating, and people betting on him, it hurt me so bad. But then you will hear other people say, let the government women are all they can do. Yes, the government is not possible for the government to do everything. At least let it start somewhere. So that will lead us to the next question. How long or what term solution can reduce drug abuse and rehabilitation, those already addicted. Those are already addicted. Like you already said it, but I just want you to elaborate more. Those are
Yeah,
already
yeah.
addicted.
You
What
know,
the
yeah.
the
Those
long
are already a data. You know, we're talking about establishing rehab. We're talking about when we talk about holistic approach, we're talking about launching a nationwide public education. You know, a nationwide public education, just the way they did the public education when it came to Ebola. Those are the public education we want when it comes to the whole drug epidemic. You know, we need the education down to our schools, our university, in the mosques, traditional leaders, community organizers. We need all the people to be engaged. We need all the people to be engaged. You know, and we got to have the funding to be able to create a unique rehab program that will help these children to go through the whole drug addiction process. Like I said, my friend I keep talking about, he do the substance abuse counseling. He's somebody that that willing to go to Liberia to help our nation, and we got so many of us that is willing to
can't get
be
any
able to
opportunity. They just
expertise.
want the opportunity. That's all they need. They have
Yeah,
the expertise to bring
yeah,
to the table. Just give them the opportunity. This point
yeah,
in time, we are in the ship in the middle of the sea, and the ship
yeah,
about to sink. It's not the people from like America they're trying to prove why. It's not the people from Liberia trying to prove why. Give those who have education in the aspect the opportunity to bring the expertise on the table.
yeah. And that's a reality, and that's what the government needs to do. And that's what the government needs to do. That was the reason I said at the end of the conversation, my recommendation is, appointing a drug czar. And I want to tell my friend, I said, you ask me to be drug czar, I can do a better job yeah. Because this is not a one-way approach. This is a holistic approach. It's an approach that got to involve everybody.
Yeah.
It's an approach that will introduce new policy. It's an approach that will create jobs. It's an approach, that will be looking at the future of Liberia. The future of Liberia. Because to combat drugs again, our anti-corruption system got to be strengthened. It got to be strengthened because this is a multi-billion trillion dollar industry.
Yeah.
It's a multi-billion trillion dollar industry, the drug war. And the data is there. The cartels from across the world, Mexico, Colombia, from all the areas there, they are targeting West Africa because of poor system, poor structure, corruption. So they are attacking those systems. System that is not built strong, system that can be corrupted easily.
Compromise. System that can be compromised.
Yeah.
I don't know how that trust like 370 million trust. How did they get to Liberia, Remy? I'm still thinking. I'll be asking my husband most of the time, honey, how did it get to Liberia?
But I have to get to Liberia. It's people asking, it's easy. The coastline, Liberia got so many open borders. Currently, you got only security at the major border points. That's where you have security. At the major border points, that's where you have security. Look at RIA. You can walk through RIA somewhere with even a drug and nobody would know. Yeah, the border points, our border points, yesterday I think Spunta were talking about some in that town they were talking about, because the coast area is so much, it's so wider. There are so many of our towns on the coast. People get. Which are the security you got at Buchanan Port? Tell me, which are the security you got at Buchanan Port? No, there's no security at Buchanan Port. That's my hometown. Which are the security you got at Sando Port? And now say there's one entry on Sando Port. Somebody can, you got signed, you got Guinea, all the area marshal right together. Somebody can get on board and drive a boat and bring drug into Liberia. It's easy. Our borders are very weak. That's just the reality. We got so many open borders. Only the major border points, that's where the government can afford to get security. but the rest of them is very, very and wide open. You know, and you talking about the drug people. What these people? They put their private planes. They put on their own private jets. So 3 in the morning, a plane can land at RIA and they can get drug from there. If you got corrupt system, all you got to do, because one of the things that drug laws and you should do, the first place to corrupt is the police department. That's the first place that you should get hold of in every city or every country. Yeah. So if you get hold of the police department, you know, Liberia, the big shot business is easy. A police chief can say, oh, we got some goods coming, go escort it. They escort, they're not going through custom. They put it in the car, the police let in front of whoa, the minute gone. And that's the reality. So to bring drug into Liberia is very easy. You know, and some people wondering, no, it's very easy. We got weak system. And that's just a reality. We're not saying this because we want to demean government. No. Our borders are very weak. If we don't have stronger border, our borders are very weak. And that's just a reality. You know, you look at America, get all the long borders. That's how the 11 million plus illegal immigrants entered America. And America with all the wealth and all the power and all the money. Yeah. So now the only thing you do, you create strong measure. You know, like the 2 Colombian people you get, if you get in the code, you sentence them for 50 years, you know, some radical person will say, we'll execute them. And it make people scared. Then people say, dude, you don't fast around Liberia, don't they get open border, but when they grab you, you know, yeah. So our borders are weak. That's just a reality. We got to accept that. Instead of just blaming our government, do we have the resources to get men to all the borders? No, we do. We do not have to. We got the resources, but are we getting the resources that we want to get? You know, I did a Christmas article. It will be coming up, and one of the things I was talking about in the Christmas article, I was talking about B Mountain operating in Cape Mount. Last year, B Mountain made $1.6 billion. That was the revenue. The statistic of their gross, according to other researchers, put their gross at $2.3 billion. You know, so it's just impossible that B Mountain use more than $500 million a year for Operation Liberia. But you know, they tell the Liberian government that revenue of 1.6 billion. And out of 1.6 billion, how much Liberia get there? 30%.
Look at that.
6 million. For the 8 million. So what's the heck? Somebody will take your gold to sell it. They make 1.6 billion, then they give it for the 8 million. Are you stupid? Or do we just have a bunch of corrupt people that each of them get different percentage, and the country get 3%? So imagine if you want to first drop, just by selling your own gold, you can raise $1.6 billion a year. If you sell your own gold, and that $1.6 billion, you can say we'll put $1 billion to fighting drugs in our country.
Fight the drugs, yeah. We're not hearing you, Rabbi. Did you mute yourself?
No, I don't think so. I think
Yeah, go ahead. I'm done. Oh, okay. Thank you again. Thank you, Ravi. We really appreciate you. We want to do the whole drug discussion for the entire month until the end of August. I mean, you are always welcome to come. We always want you because your contribution is very much educated, and we'll all bring other people along with you in the studio for us to keep it, because this is about us. I may be here, my kids, maybe here, my other kids in Africa, they may not be doing drugs, but my nephew may be doing drugs, my niece may be doing drugs. And it's nobody in Liberia will say, oh no, I'm not nowhere near the drugs. But on behalf of Central TV, we want to say thank you for your contribution. We'll give you the opportunity to just give your closing statement. And
okay. So, again, I want to say, thank you for, for calling me. Asking me to talk about the drug issue. And the reality is, this ought to be a holistic approach. I wish people in steering government official would come across this, program. We need a holistic approach to this drug. And if I would talk, if I would say I'm talking to the president, one of the things they need to do, we need a drug czar. We need a drug czar. A drug
Somebody will
czar.
ask what a drug czar is, Reverend. Can you just
Yeah. Yeah, good question. So a drug czar is like a top government official where the president will give, they'll give certain authority to that person, and that person, that you give certain authority to that person. The person, they will coordinate the whole strategy when it comes to fighting drugs. The person got to be a policy person. This person got to know about policy. It can't just be anybody. They got to be a policy person. This is the person that will lay out. They will lay out like plans. They will. Let's say they will coordinate, like they will come up with a strategic plan that will be coordinated to combat drugs. So for Liberia, the typical role will involve overseeing like the law enforcement, overseeing all those groups, DEA, So they will kind of be coordinating, because currently we should coordinate. You get a coordinating with the police, the LDA, the other group, the national security. So this person will, they will coordinate the whole program. They will bring people together, bring law enforcement, public health worker, educator, other government agency. So let's take, for example, you say, okay, Reverend Davis, the drug czar. So one of the first business would be to get all these people on board. The Minister of Health, the civil society leader, other government agencies. Because when you talk about combating drug now, you got to involve Ministry of Youth and Sport. So Ministry of Youth and Sport, you got to start designing program, the TVET program, how you can integrate people that be going through counseling. Yeah. So in sense, they will be coordinator. They will develop a plan, implementation for national drug control in Liberia. So that is policy driven. So that person will be able to work with a team to come up with a national plan, a national control for fighting drug in Liberia. So that's who the drug czar would be. It's just a senior government official that the president will give that authority to. That person doesn't have to go through confirmation. If they don't do confirmation, fine, but you don't have to do confirmation. That person report directly to the president.
Very good idea.
The drug czar report directly to the president. It's the drug czar, the president, the drug czar, the president. So you need somebody with integrity.
Definitely.
Yeah, you need somebody with integrity. So for Liberia, I think, for example, you say I was the drug czar. So one of the things that maybe I come up with like a 5 strategic plan. The law enforcement, prevention, treatment, recovery, and reintegration, and research and evaluation. Yeah. If our drug czar, those are the 5 pillars I'm going to work with in Liberia.
Yeah,
So
that is
with
needed.
the law enforcement, with their marketing, we target major traffickers, and dismantle organized criminal network. So that would just be the focus of the law enforcement under that pillar. Then we cover the prevention pillar. So then we do a nationwide education campaign where we talk about schools and community. That's where we'll bring about rehab, and that's where we'll spread all the education about drug, the danger for drug. Then the third pillar I recommend, it would be like we talk about treatment. Because you get a law enforcement, you get prevention. So the prevention is educating people that drug is bad. Then we talk about treatment. So treatment is an extra pillar. So you talk about treatment, you talk about rehabilitation, or you expand rehabilitation through Monrovia, through all our major counties where we have all the drug issues. And these are rehab and that. The Liberian government got money to do it. Because if you, every year you give the senators and the representatives just for gas, about $2.3 million every year, you know about 2.2 million, how many rehab 2.2 million can build? without giving Representative and Senator gas money. I'm not talking about the 34 million plus gas that get to the executive branch of government. Yeah, so that's something that is doable. So then
Yeah.
you talk about treatment. So you do all the, then you get a whole pit of treatment plan. So you got people there, you got people that head in that whole area that you coordinate. And you talk about recovery and integration. So these people go into, you put it into rehab. You talk about vocational program. We already got TVET there. So as they go through the rehab, they go through a vocational training, or as I learned, the government will build some huge rehab facility. So I learned you get
Yeah.
vocational training there. So those people that are going in there at the same time they learning trade. They learning trade. Then they can be able to come from that. Then the last point the last point you kind of work with now as a pillar for for combating drugs in Liberia is a research and evaluation. So as we're doing all these things, we're collecting data,
Yeah.
we monitor trends, we're recommending to the
Yeah.
government evidence-based policy improvement.
Yeah.
We're not just coming out with policy because you got to do this. No, we got to collect data, and if we recommend it to the presidency, this is what we need for the legislation to work on to introduce this policy in combating drugs. Those data will be driven by evidence. Yeah, the whole policy will be driven by evidence. So even if we not get the current data, we can still get current data in Liberia, or we can match it with other data of other countries that have fought drugs control. Yeah. So if you do that, with a drug czar, with those 5 pillows,
We'll get somewhere.
then you say you're going somewhere. Because the only thing they're doing now, they're doing law enforcement. And the law enforcement is not even to the highest point yet. So the only thing the government is doing is a law enforcement aspect of it. But you need a holistic aspect. You need a law enforcement aspect. You need a prevention aspect. You need a treatment aspect. You need a recovery and integration aspect. And you need a research and evaluation on what all these entities are doing. Because if you take that whole thing from a holistic approach, then we're looking at a better future. We're looking at a country, that tomorrow, we will say, oh yeah, we have a nation that we can be proud of. But to be frank, the state our country is in, it's a call for alarm. People take it to be political. This is not political. This is serious. And I hope, Liberians that will come across, this conversation, that we can be able to take drastic action. And I think the major thing is, one of the major steps is to appoint a drug czar, somebody with integrity, somebody that understands policy, somebody that understands mediation, negotiation, because as you bring all these things together, you got to be able to, have conversation. You got to be able to talk to partners, international partners. These are what we want to do. The international partner can say, okay, we trust this guy. They can make this happen. Yeah. And even by taking the route I'm talking about, you will not just only be helping to control drugs, you'll also be creating employment for Liberians. Yeah. So again, I want to thank you, for having me to have this conversation. And I'm glad I was here, and I will be, I'm here anytime you want for us to talk. As a researcher, we do our best, to see how best we can bring the conversation, that be helpful, that can help, make an impact, not just for us, for our country and for other people. So again, I want to say thank you.
Thank you so much, Reverend Davis. I mean, that drug czar issue is something that Liberia government need to look at, because fighting the drugs, we just talk about arrest, drug trafficker, we put them in jail. Okay, we put them in jail, what next? We arrest a case from the ghetto, we beat them, we take them to the same, what next? You know, what the data, what
Partners.
data we're collecting, what, you know, what are we doing to know that, okay, we are improving in the fight of drugs? What we're doing to know that,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, we are succeeding. So I think that drugs are, if the government of Liberia can think about it to also introduce it with somebody with integrity, like you said, it will help the fight of drugs in Liberia. Again, we want to say thank you for honoring our invitation at Central TV. And we are happy. Every contribution you make out today from our comment section, it shows that Liberian people really, really need now ask for Josa. Because when you are talking about Josa, I say, why are you talking about Josa? But the way you broke it down as to
Yeah,
data
yeah.
collection, you know,
Yeah,
analyzing,
you need
evaluation,
somebody to coordinate everything. Yeah, you need
yeah.
somebody to coordinate everything. Yeah, somebody
Again,
that nobody can touch, only the president.
yeah, with integrity. Again, we want to say thank you to our followers for following us on Central TV. Today is Leadership Dialogue. In studio is my co-host, Nathan Biaka, and our guest today really inspire Liberia and is Reverend J.C. Foss Davis. And I'm being your host, Veronica Grams, on Central TV. On behalf of our staff and members of Central TV, want to say thank you for following us. Again, tomorrow will be our religious hour. What a powerful man of God will be here 1 hour to inspire us on Jesus Christ, the importance of Jesus Christ. We are also looking for an imam to also be coming in the studio to be talking about Islam, because we are non-religious thing. I mean, it's a TV. I'm Christian, I'm a minister of the gospel. That does not mean I should suppress other people's religion. Again, on Wednesday, we have Inside Liberia, hosted by Sister Miss Vivian Code. On Thursday, we have The Power of Horse, hosted by Mrs. Arizona Grams, and the Youth Prime Time, hosted by Mr. Leon Tuazama. Again, we will close the curtain of today's show, and we want to say thank you for joining us, Reverend David. You are such a great inspiration to today's edition of Central TV today. Thank you so much. And
Thank
this
you.
is how we will close the curtain.